Brictopian. Hello, it's Brictopian here, and today I will be thinking about what the next LEGO modular building might be. This is for 2023, and over the last few years we've had some great modular buildings. For 2022 we had the Boutique Hotel, which celebrated the 15 years anniversary of LEGO modular buildings. That set was a corner building, which makes me think that for this year, 2023, which will be the year that we are focusing on, it won't be a corner building, because typically LEGO doesn't do more than one corner building in a row. I also don't think that this year's set, or should say 2023 set, will not be a particularly massive set like Assembly Square, for example, because that would have probably happened in the year 2022 for the Boutique Hotel, because that celebrated the 15 years and that would have been more significant. But there is loads and loads of great designs that LEGO could do for the next modular building, even if it doesn't represent a specific 15-year or 20-year or whatever anniversary. One of the biggest options of what they could do would be something like a hospital, which I have thought about before other years, because of the subject would be really important and something that a lot of people could use in the LEGO city. However, it is quite a serious subject matter, so some people may be put off by that, and it might lose the fun value of LEGO that you get with something like the Downtown Diner. However, it's good to reference one of the key workers of society and one of the important fields, which is obviously, yes, the medical profession. And they could include something like an ambulance, which would be really fun and awesome, and the accessories for the minifigures would be amazing. But then there are lots of other things they could do for modular buildings that perhaps would be just as good, and I personally would probably prefer. So another thing they could do as a modular building for the year 2023 is possibly something along the lines of a pizza parlor. I think, yeah, that would be really cool. I mean, they've done other food establishments in Lego modulars so far, like they've done the Downtown Diner, they've done the Parisian Restaurant, etc. And they've included things like the Cafe Corner, and Assembly Square had a cafe as well, and also a bakery. And even the police station included a donut shop. So there's a lot of food type referenced things in Lego modular buildings. But I still think a pizza parlor would be pretty cool. They could have a massive sign for a pizza outside, a big round sign, which would look really awesome on top of the building. And they could use some really nice pizzery colors to really change up the color palette for modulars. They could use reds, they could use yellows, they could use maybe some darker reds, or they could even use browns maybe, or nougat color. There's so much they could do with it, although I don't know if they will, but you know, it's just one idea. And the minifigures could include obviously a delivery boy who could be on a little motorcycle or something to deliver the pizzas, and they could include a upstairs apartment or anything else. They could even have an upstairs part to the restaurant where you can sit. But yeah, that's another option of what they could do for the 2023 modular building. A third possibility is a post office. A post office is something else that I have thought about before as something they could do for other years, but I still stick by the idea that a post office could be good. It could include a mailbox outside, it could come with a mail delivery van that could be in a nice red colour, and it could include some postmen with little sacks. We could also get a passport photo booth section upstairs where people can take their photos, because I know in a lot of post offices they do have an area where people take photos for their passports. They could even have a little place where people could pick up their packages if they wanted to in the modular, and it would just be great and fun overall. I also think they could do a lot with the architectural style, because I think a lot of post offices are very distinctive with their architecture, and it could fit into all different categories and scenarios of other modulars. It would also be really fun, and it would just do so much for the theme, although there are other things that would be really good too. Next up, I would like to think about what about if they did a courthouse as a modular building. I know this is something that not many people have actually mentioned or thought about, but I think it'd be really cool. I know a courthouse is quite empty in a lot of ways in terms of like machinery and decorational stuff inside, but then they could have loads and loads of seats. They could have a nice little chair that's got a hammer for the judge to use. They could even include a nice little stand where the witnesses go and stand at and read out their statements. They could do quite a few things, but the main thing about doing a courthouse is I think it would be quite monumental and large on the outside. They could add loads of engravings in the side of the building that make it feel really sort of sort of important. They could add some statues out the front of someone who represents the law firm or the court, such as the Crown Court, for example, we have in the UK. You could have a crown on the outside of the building or a statue, like I say, and there's just a lot you could do. There's not a lot you could do necessarily with the upstairs if it was to have an upstairs, but you could have a sort of a chill out area for the people who are reading their statements, who go when they are thinking about what their verdict is going to be, etc. So this is something that would be quite cool. The minifigs could include, yeah, lawyers, they could include a judge, they could include some witnesses, or they could include different things. They could even have a criminal who's on trial. I mean, it's something that I don't know, it's probably one of the less likely things they'll pick out of the ones I've just mentioned, but still something that could happen. A theatre is something else that would be quite good as a Lego modular building. I know we've had a Lego friend set that was of a theatre, and even though that was a friend set, a lot of people actually praised that set for how detailed and fun it was, and how you could change the shape by folding the set. And also, there's a lot you could do in terms of minifigures and reenacting scenes from films and from cartoons and things such as the Muppets that you could do with a theatre. But I just think that the whole atmosphere and the decor of a theatre would be perfect for a Lego modular building, and it would go well with something like the Palace Cinema set. And yes, I am referring to the Palace Cinema as not a theatre because I'm from the UK, and in the UK we do not call cinemas theatres. But yeah, I think that would be really cool, and you could have nice red seats inside. You could have a nice big stage at the front for like a performance or a play or something, and you could have minifigures that are dressed up in costumes for the performances. You could have a ticket booth outside, or you could have a area where people sit and look at different posters of the theatre productions. I don't know what else to say on this particular idea, but I'm sure Lego could do this idea justice, and I think a lot of people would love this set as well if they made it. It's probably one of my favourite choices out of the list I'm currently predicting, and I think it would be awesome. My last two thoughts on what the new modular for 2023 could be include a clothes shop and a leisure centre. A clothes shop would be really useful and would be very important because, of course, clothes are one of the main things that you see on a high street. Clothes shops are everywhere. They're taking over, they are closing down other shops such as DVD stores, etc. So why, if of all these shops that we have that are clothes shops, do they not do a Lego modular of a clothes shop? It could be a tailor shop where it could have all suits. It could be a summer wear shop where it includes loads of umbrellas for sun, and it could have surfboards included. It could have shorts. It could have vest tops. It could have swimming costumes, etc. Or we could have something a bit more general, like just a general clothes store that sells t-shirts and jeans and different things like that. They could represent this in a way. They could use minifigure torso pieces hanging from the walls to represent tops, or they could just simply use tiles to represent clothing in that particular way. The outside of the building could potentially be anything, because clothes shops vary a lot in how they look. You would have probably quite a lot of windows so you could see the clothes inside through the door, and they could use a lot of white colour scheme, but they don't necessarily have to. It depends on what type of clothing they use. Like I say, if it was summer clothing, they could make it look really summery, the outside of the building. But yeah, there's lots they could do with a closed door, and it's something that, of course, would be really important to have. So yeah, that's just another thought I have. And then, like I said, a leisure centre would also be really cool. They could have loads of sports inside. They could have a sports hall. They could have different sports equipment. They could have a swimming pool inside it where minifigures go swimming. They could have lots of different things. And it would just be really fun to have. You could have loads of different sports related minifigures. So you could have ones dressed up in football uniforms or in swimming costumes or in basketball uniforms or anything. And the leisure centre is very open-ended, and of course you could have a snack area where they could have vending machines, which would be really cool, or they could even have perhaps a shower room for all people who are going in there, or they could even have a gym as part of the leisure centre on a different floor. I know we've had a gym in the downtown diner set, but they could do a different type of gym with different equipment, etc. But yeah, there's loads they could do. I think all of these options are brilliant, and there's so many ways they could do it. And Lego always do well in the end. They always come out with something amazing, even if you don't think it will turn out that well. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on what the new 2023 modular building might be. I would say my top picks would have to be something along the lines of a post office or possibly a theatre. I think they're my top two choices at the moment. I think a theatre is very likely, and it would go well with the last modular, the boutique hotel. I just think it would look amazing next to that with the architecture style and the colours they could use. So I'd say a theatre is my number one pick probably at the moment, and then probably yeah the post office, and then after that I don't know, possibly the possibly the clothes shop. I'm not entirely sure really. But there are other things they could do. There's loads of other options as well that I could predict that may not be my top picks, but they could get picked, such as a hardware store, etc. Even something like that would be really good. But yeah, like I said, they're just my thoughts on what the new modular could be. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe and share for more videos and to help out the channel. I hope you come back. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.